My name is Diana, and I am marketing manager at NEOS, and I will be your host today. Let's go over the agenda quickly. I'm going to start with a short introduction. I'm going to tell you a little bit about NEOS, and I'm going to explain why we're doing what we're doing today. And then we're going to go to Introduction to FinOps by Dieter Matzion, who is our colleague from FinOps Foundation, who has agreed to join us here today. And then we're going to go to Dean Micic, who's going to do Cloud Financial Management in Practice, a little talk about that. So quickly about NEOS. NEOS has been here since 2002. This is like 18 years of experience, and we have over 200 successful projects, and a third of them is international projects. And we have been an Oracle certified partner since the beginning, and we have numerous Oracle specializations. But let's just go to the topic that we are going to discuss today. So Dieter and Dean are going to tell you a lot of numbers and stats that are going to confirm what they are talking about today. But I just want to start with this one. And this is a Gartner's prediction that throughout 2020, 80% of organizations will overshoot their cloud budget. And this is mainly due to the lack of cloud cost optimization governance and misguided upfront cloud spend commitments. Furthermore, public cloud spend is estimated to reach $360 billion by 2022. This is like 2 years from now. And what has been going on in the past year has proved that cloud technology is stable and is resistant to social and economic crisis. And NEOS, as I already said, has been an Oracle partner from the beginning, and we have worked with Oracle Cloud for ages now. And ever since we started working with cloud technology, we've been trying to find a way to optimize cloud cost, not only for ourselves, but also for our partners. So we've been working on better ways to do that, and we've been trying to find other people that share that desire as we do. So in September 2019, we went to CloudEcon, and there we met people from the FinOps Foundation. And we were thrilled with that because it was kind of a confirmation that we were doing the right thing and confirmation of what we were doing all along. So what we did next is we immediately sent our experts to get certified on the first certified practitioner course in Europe. And then we started implementing those FinOps principles into our own cloud cost management solution, which is our flagship solution, CloudWayne, which my colleague Dean will be talking about a little bit later. And finally, at the second half of this year, in August 2020, we became, this is like something that we are really proud of, we became among the first 6 FinOps certified service providers worldwide. So what this means is that we can offer support and consulting and professional services and training for organizations' cloud financial management journey. And now, in close collaboration with FinOps Foundation, we have organized this webinar. And this is the first of a series of webinars on the topic of cloud cost optimization and management. And we'll be preparing a lot of more materials for you. And when the situation dies down and when we can, mingle again in real life, we're going to organize a FinOps meetup, and we will notify you about that. Of course, we will. And now I'm going to put you into the expert hands of Dieter Matzion. He's from the FinOps Foundation, and he's a senior cloud governance engineer at Roku Incorporated. He's not live because of the time difference. He's in the United States of America. So if you have any questions for him, just please write them in the Q&A, and we will see if maybe we can answer them at the end of the session, or if not, we're going to send them to Dieter, and then we're going to have him answer that for you. So here's Dieter.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dieter Mason, and I'm from the FinOps Foundation. Today, I'm going to give you a quick introduction into FinOps. I have been working on cloud cost and efficiency since 2013 at companies like Google, Netflix, Intuit, and Roku. My contact info is on the bottom left, and you can contact me over LinkedIn or email. More than ever, today's companies in every industry deliver value to their customers with technology. DevOps has allowed companies to accelerate technology delivery to meet customer demand using cloud. But this shift has put purchasing power in the hands of developers in ways that have broken traditional procurement. A new operating model is needed to allow collaborative decision-making in the era of DevOps and cloud to maximize the value of each company's cloud investment. What was fixed costs in the past is now changing to variable costs. More and more companies are becoming technology companies. Think not just of eBay or Amazon, think of companies like Nike and Nationwide Insurance. Every company is a technology company in addition to its core industry. DevOps allowed IT to manage at the speed of the business with rapid, incremental development cycles. While Lean and Agile have helped to optimize DevOps, cloud spending is now becoming substantial. Cloud spend grew from about $60 billion in 2019 and is estimated to be 6 times that in 3 years. The source for this chart is an IDG survey in late 2018. This reinforces that among other issues, cost was the largest. This survey was done across all organizational functions, like CIOs, CTOs, procurement people, engineers, architects, developers, and so on. So not just across executives. FinOps directly addresses the challenges of managing cost, but it does not ignore other things. What we see here is a cost spike of a serverless function increasing cost from essentially nothing to about $650 a day. The QA team did not review cost during the testing cycle and released this code into production. Once alerted, the engineers found the root cause to be a misconfiguration that substantially increased Lambda calls. And Lambda is an Amazon Web Services serverless service offering. It took the company more than 3 days to go through the standard release cycle to fix this issue. This table was posted by HashiCorp on the blog. RASKey, or sometimes called RAKI, is a responsibility assignment matrix. You may have seen this in the past. The person accountable is usually a manager and is different from the person responsible. What this shows is that engineers, and this includes QA and testing, is now held responsible for planning and optimization of cloud resources. This is how Amazon Web Services looks at managing the architecture needs of cloud systems. Please be familiar with this framework as AWS cloud teams will use it. FinOps addresses cost optimization, but also has strong ties to other areas. Increasingly, companies are going with best-of-breed solutions in each pillar, rather than one tool fits all approaches, both to give them capability across cloud providers and because they are increasingly outgrowing the minimum viable product or MVP tools provided natively by the cloud vendors. The FinOps lifecycle has many conceptual similarities to other methodologies that will be discussed or are actually being used with customers. The most commonly encountered will be DevOps, Agile, and perhaps other concepts such as CI/CD pipelines. It will be important for conversations with cloud stakeholders to understand enough about these complementary methodologies and how they relate to FinOps. Let's go into some detail of what these methodologies have in common. They are all cyclical, continuous processes. There is an effect that increases velocity and innovation. There is a crawl, walk, run maturity over time. Collaboration across functions is a key component of these. There is a focus on speed and agility. They all value automation, and there is a common language and alignment. Agile is the delivery methodology focused on delivering incremental software over time effectively, though the Agile Manifesto states that it is focused on individuals and interactions over processes and tools. This is very similar to FinOps in that it is how the various people across the organization interact to drive value. Continuous integration and continuous delivery, or CI/CD, is an automation that delivers software to appropriate environments. DevOps focuses on integrating roles and responsibilities for products. For many organizations, FinOps is the new operating model for the cloud. FinOps is the practice of bringing technology, business, and finance together to master the unit economics of cloud for a competitive advantage. That's it in a nutshell. It brings financial accountability to the variable spend model of cloud. FinOps is a prescriptive model of actions, best practices, and culture. FinOps enables DevOps, finance, and business teams. FinOps helps to make decisions that increase business value. Velocity is the new currency. Low performance can directly impact the bottom line. Competitors are doing this and trying to get an advantage over you. FinOps is a prescriptive set of processes that have to be done continually. It consists of systems and actions, best practices, and culture. FinOps is a culture of accountability, getting product, finance, and business teams to collaborate, make real-time decisions related to trade-offs between cost and speed, drive decisions that increase business value, improve efficiency, and better align costs to business needs, better forecasting of cloud costs. FinOps is similar to DevOps that allowed IT speed to meet business demand. FinOps allows finance and the business to work together with IT at speed and at scale. And here are the FinOps principles that were developed by FinOps Foundation members. These are in no particular order and are meant to be thought of as a whole. Doing one without the others in excess creates problems, the same as doing all except one. Think of them more as North Star goals. These principles will change slightly over time as the field gains experience. Let's go through them one by one to give you a little bit more context. Teams need to collaborate. Collaboration is the trademark of FinOps. Without it, people make decisions based on partial data. Continuous improvement and fast decision-making are required to be successful, and collaboration is the engine of the practice of FinOps. The business value of cloud drives decisions. Use unit economics and value-based metrics to demonstrate business impact rather than aggregate cloud spend. Empower teams with data to make conscious trade-off decisions between cost, quality, and speed. Everyone takes ownership for their cloud usage. Because the cloud decentralizes purchasing decisions to the engineers, we need to hold the engineers accountable for their spend. Engineers have to use cost as a new efficiency metric when managing the cloud workloads against their budgets. FinOps reports should be accessible and timely. Engineers need near real-time access to cloud cost data to drive decisions around utilization. The FinOps team needs to ensure the data is consistent to build trust within the organization. Without trust, engineers won't use what you provide and are unable to make informed decisions. A centralized team drives FinOps. Some activities work better centralized, like getting executive support, reporting, automation, and governance, negotiating with cloud providers, and purchasing prepayment products. Some activities need to be decentralized, like right-sizing, waste reduction, and forecasting. While a central team cannot perform all activities, it can drive them throughout the organization. Take advantage of the variable cost model of the cloud. Not having to pay for something when you turn it off is hugely powerful. FinOps needs to change the way we design application in the cloud. Always look for new technologies that follow the principle and teach your engineers how to use them. All right, this is it for today. If you have any questions, please contact me on LinkedIn or over email. My contact info is on the bottom left. Thank you very much for attending the session. Please look out for future announcements on LinkedIn. Thanks again and have a great day.
Our next talk, this is going to be Dean Micic, who is going to show you practical application of FinOps principles in the NEOS flagship product CloudVein. So Dean is going to be handling the Q&A afterwards. So if you have any questions for him as well, just write them in the Q&A and he's going to answer them later.
Hi everyone, my name is Dean and I'm product manager at CloudVein. My job is to implement the FinOps capabilities and principles into our product to provide the best experience for our end users. In this session, we will drill down into the FinOps lifecycle, the principles of FinOps, and talk about how to implement them into your organization. As Dieter talked about changes in cloud cost, this is just the confirmation of that. Gartner predicts that 50% of mission-critical applications will be hosted in public cloud by 2022. So that's 50% in just 2 years' time. Just recently, Deutsche Bank announced that they are moving the heart of their IT into the public cloud. This creates new challenges for companies. First challenge is user-driven consumption. Every employee with access to cloud resources generates usage and in the end affects your cloud bill. On top of that, companies like KPMG have over 400 of cloud accounts. And when you try to consolidate those numbers of accounts and users, it's difficult. Second one is complex billing. Cloud usage is generally represented as an Excel document. It's extremely complex and it can have millions of lines of code and data. It's almost impossible to manipulate it. And how do you consolidate the cloud bill for 400 cloud accounts? It's very complicated. And in the end, continuous optimization. There's a big difference between your cloud and your on-prem infrastructure. Cloud bill is affected by your usage every hour when your resources is on, generating usage and affecting your cost. FinOps is here to help. How do we address these challenges? The answer is Iron Triangle. Maximize the value of your cloud spend. Trade-offs must be made by balancing the company's goals in every case in terms on how fast, how good, and how cheap to develop. The goal of FinOps is not always to do things the cheapest, but to do them in the way that develops the most value. The FinOps team has a big part in it. FinOps drives the cultural change of the organization as a whole. FinOps teams manages the cloud strategy, governance, and best practices, and then works with the rest of the business to transform how the cloud is used. Individuals at every level, in every area of the organization, have a different role to play in the FinOps practice. From finance to operations to developers, the architects to executives, everyone in the organization has a part to play. So, whether is a small business with only a few staff deploying the cloud resources or a large enterprise with thousands and thousands of users, FinOps practices can and should be implemented in all of these companies. And now we go through FinOps lifecycle. The lifecycle is here to guide the FinOps team into implementing the FinOps best practices into 3 phases. The first one of them is the inform phase. Inform phase gives you the visibility for allocation and created shared accountability by showing teams what they are really spending and why. This phase enables individuals who can now see the impact of their actions to the bill. The second one is optimize, which empowers your team to identify and measure efficiency. of optimizations like right sizing. Goals are set upon the identified optimization which align with each team's area of focus. In the end, the operate phase will define processes that will make the good goals of IT, finance, and business achievable. Automation can be deployed to enable these processes to be performed in a reliable and repeatable manner. The FinOps capabilities are what FinOps teams do as they go through the FinOps lifecycle. Don't get overwhelmed with all the detailed steps. Understanding fully loaded cost is almost always the first step to make. If you don't understand what you're spending, at least at a high level, you will be unlikely to see any real results. Enabling real-time decision making and benchmark performance will be more visible and understandable as you start to report the usage data on top of your cost. Buy only what you need, use what you buy, and pay the best price for it, based on all the information you now have available in the optimize phase. Align plan to the business includes capabilities primarily performed in the operate phase of the FinOps lifecycle. This is where the opportunities you identified in the optimize phase are executed and the organization change is engaged. First step in the inform phase is visibility into your cost. Map your spend data to organizational hierarchy by cost centers, application, business units, and teams. Ask any FinOps member. Tagging is one of the most important steps in FinOps. If you create a good tagging strategy from an early start of your cloud journey, you will have less problems further on. Tagging is critical to properly chargeback, visibility, and later optimization. As organizations adopt the FinOps model and pushing spend accountability to the edges of the organization, they are finding that chargeback and showback models are becoming increasingly important to drive ownership of spending and recovering cost. Implementing budgets and forecasting on your cost centers, application, business units, and teams, and provide notification on budget status to cost owners. Allocating shared cost is very important due to many cloud services that are accessible by multiple teams on multiple projects, which is why allocating those services is an important task to companies. Leaving them in a central bucket is generally less desirable, as teams don't see the true cost of their applications. Additionally, once chargeback has been implemented and visibly given to teams, mature FinOps teams set up processes to get the relevant data on their consumption in a scheduled manner. Processes of identifying unusual spikes in usage are also important. Teams want to get the information on usage of spikes as soon as possible so they can act on them. After teams can see properly allocated spend and usage, they can start to identify unused resources. As you go further on into the core cost journey, you will start to analyze your cost and usage data in more detail and reveal trend patterns as start of understand cost drivers. Scorecards let the FinOps team benchmark how different project teams are doing in terms of optimization cost, speed, and quality. Start a bit of a competition. Who can do more with less? Good example here is the wall of shame. If your team opts out of a recommendation for optimization, put them on the wall. Building the concept of internal scorecards. More advanced FinOps team extend their benchmarks to make comparisons with other industry peers. Remember, these are more advanced inform phase capabilities. The first goal of any optimization should be a good cost allocation. Cost savings can be a goal, just not only one. During the optimize phase, you might discover that you're paying more for powerful compute resources than you need. Recommendations that have been generated are acted upon during the operate phase. Engineers review and recommendations and make adjustments, for example, switching to less powerful, less expensive instances, or simply replacing unused storage with smaller size, or using hard drive rather than SSD-based storage for some projects. As a company, you must be constantly evaluate services you use in the cloud, so good governance and controls are core to continue exploiting benefits you gain by moving to the cloud. Mature teams move forward towards artificial intelligence for automation and optimization of resources, get automated recommendations on right sizing, or even terminate of unused resources like storage. Every cloud provider has their own type of discount. Reserved instances or committed use discounts are just one of them. Workload placement is another cost reduction measure. Once the FinOps team understands engineering infrastructure requirements, they can look at multiple cloud vendors and compare pricing options. Work with your cloud provider and account teams or your reseller to best understand the discounting program that are available to you and how they would affect your prices and usage. Software licensing, in the other end, is extremely complex, to say the least. Every vendor has different terms, conditions, and rules, and the FinOps team is here to help the organization navigate through the treacherous waters. Where the optimization phase sets the goal for improving, the operate phase sets the processes to take the action. Once the automations are in place, management takes a step back and ensures the spending levers are aligned with company goals. Each team must constantly improve their understanding of cloud and level up their reporting efficiency. On top of that, they are continuously improving their processes and adding more and more FinOps capabilities to improve their cloud innovation. Mature teams stop requiring application owners to log in to see recommendations and begin pushing the items like right-sizing recommendation into tools like Jira. Mature teams begin to programmatically assign a cleanup tags to the policies. They also implement policy-driven storage life cycles to ensure data is stored in the most cost-effective tier automatically, like archive storage. Now, the FinOps lifecycle is inherently a loop. The most successful companies take a crawl, walk, run approach to get a little bit better each time as they go through it. Each trip through the FinOps lifecycle builds muscle memory and experience to allow FinOps team to execute actions more confidently and with more confidence in the result of their actions. So, start small and build up your FinOps practice. Take your time. And now, we believe that the best way to start your FinOps journey is to start with a tool which is easy to use for the whole team. FinOps helped us with our own cloud challenges, and so we implemented much of its capabilities into CloudVein. So CloudVein helps you to see through the multi-cloud environment with easy implementation of FinOps practice. So let's jump into CloudVein for a quick demo. And now let's start with a demo. How we implemented the FinOps principles into our application. As you can see, first screen here is the dashboard, where we get the inform phase. What are you really spending in your cloud resources and why? On the top of it, you have your cost boxes with your general monthly commitment and your usage. Beneath that, you have more details on your cloud accounts. As you can see, I have 4 of them here. Additionally, I have more companies here, 2 of them. You can see your spending, your current interval, your projected cost, your budget, cost by their information like that. Also, here is a history of your cost by the last 12 months by your service category. Also, your top 5 service categories, which you can drill down into to see more details of your cost. And also details like your cost centers by current month cost or your organization cost. We organize our cost on our company's tab, where we go to organization. This is based on your mapping your business to your cost. As you can see here, we have a company Neos with all our cost centers beneath them. and resources on those cost centers. Let's say here in our development compartment cost center, we have a couple of resources. It's really easy to transfer your resources that are not assigned to a certain cost center by simply filtering them, let's say through our filter fields here, and you select your resource and drag and drop it to a certain cost center. Here you'll be asked to assign percentage. This is when your resource is not used by a certain cost center at a time, so you can divide your usage by percentage. Let's say that 50% of this here resource is assigned to this cost center. And when you confirm it, those resource usages will be assigned to that cost center. Now you want to control that cost somehow. That's why we implemented budgets with a forecasting feature. I have a lot of budgets here representing my company for our scope of cloud accounts, cost centers, and companies. As you can see, they can be monthly, annual, or even quarterly if you want. You simply create a new one, add all the required information for it, select a period, select the scope you want to consider, and create your budget to control your cost. We also use threshold templates. Threshold templates are here to provide you with features like notifications when your threshold is reached for your budget. Let's see our SI threshold template. You can see that I have predefined my thresholds for our SI team, our system integration team, where I have actual costs, so costs that are really happening now in your cost center at a certain values, and I want to be notified by them. Also, I have some type of projected thresholds where my prediction module will detect when I achieve a critical cost in my cost center and notify me of that, so that I can see what's happening in my cost center and I can remedy that. When we are done with configuring, we can drill down more into our data by using our reporting feature. Here you can see our monthly cost per cloud account report. Report is built on our predefined data sets. We provide you with your data set, which has metrics and dimensions in it, and you can create your own reports. We will provide you with our own reports predefined, but you can always create your own. Here you can see a graph of your cost in the last year with more details in the spreadsheet beneath it. You can drill down as you wish. Also, you are able to change the representation of your graph by clicking on the graph type. You can subscribe to your graph, you can share it, you can export it for your finance people. Also, we have other graphs, as you can see, more details on your cost, let's say for your service category. You can simply drill down into every month data, as you can see here, just hovering over a certain field in the table, in the graph. Also, more information. You can simply select, this is the representation of our pivot fill list, which is an editor for your report, where you can see all the dimensions and metrics that you can use to generate your report. You simply select some of them. Let's say I want to select a region. Region is then added to our fields below. Let's say we want to add it to a column. As I add it, the column will be represented on the graph itself. You can then simply filter through it, you can sort it, you can assign a different date that you want to assign to it, and then look at through your report. You can then save it, subscribe to it, so that you get notified of your changes by daily or monthly basis, as you like. On top of all that, we use we use our automation features for you to automate your tasks directly from our console. No need for you to log into all the other accounts in your cloud provider consoles. You can assign actions directly from here. So let's say we'll use our CloudVein account, and I created here a compartment of action test resources for which I can do some actions. Let's say on my instance 3, I have all the details of those instances in the cloud, and I can assign certain actions to it. Also, we have the capability of grouping those instances into action groups. Let's say we can create a new action group, and we can select predefined actions on that action group and create them. Action groups are used here in our application to create scheduled actions. So you can group your resources and assign schedules to those resources. So let's say in the act, if you want to stop and start your development environment, as I have it here in my schedule, you can see that my development will start every day at 8 a.m. in the morning when the developers come to work, and the environment will stop itself at 7 p.m. at the evening when developers go home. So only this will affect your cloud bill by over 60%. And these resources are off during the weekends. So this is a significant benefit to you. You can assign more action groups as you like. You can create them by your own and implement this feature on all of it. Also, we provide scaling features for resources. You can also archive your resources, terminate them as the prediction module does it. This is how we implemented the FinOps best practices into our application. We are in development, and more features are developed every day and implemented for our users. Now, let's get back to the presentation.
This is Dean's contact information. So if you have any questions for him, you can ask him, you can send him an email, you can connect with him via LinkedIn. And this is going to be the end of our session today. We would like to apologize for any technical difficulties. It was our first webinar after all, but everybody that has registered is going to get a recording via email in a few days, and it's going to be much better quality than it was here right now. And if you have any questions regarding Cloud Financial Management or FinOps, just let us know. You have our contact information. You can ask Dean, you can contact us on LinkedIn or any other way that you can. So thank you again for attending, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you all. See you next time.